Blasphemous remarks about the Prophet Muhammad. In 2007, YouTube was banned in Turkey for insulting Ataturk and Turkishness. Earlier this spring, Iran announced plans to launch a halal internet, basically an intranet to cut its people off from the World Wide Web. The internet remains heavily censored across much of the region, and that is when it's not cut off completely, as you can see happened here for 5 days in Egypt last spring during the Arab revolutions. So what we're seeing a free speech crisis throughout much of the Middle East. We don't know where the Arab Spring will take this crisis, what democracies might come, what freedoms might come, but we can be sure that when change happens, people know about it and that they're free to discuss it. So that's where freespeechdebate.com comes in. This project is something I've been working on for more than a year, and I'm working on it under the leadership of Professor Timothy Garton Ash, who's a historian and a journalist at Oxford University. We have a team of 30 graduate students, and we're trying to come up with 10 principles for free speech in the age of mass migration and mass communication. And basically, I'm here today to say that we need your help. So before I launch into what free speech debate is, I think it might be useful to give you some context for why I'm so passionate about these issues. The answer in short is that I'm a journalist. And when I was in Morocco a few years ago, I remember we went on a road trip to Agadir, and on the way we saw across the mountains painted the words Allah al-Watan al-Malik, meaning God, nation, king. This is Morocco's national motto, and it's very important in this context because it also represents red lines that journalists can't cross in many countries in the region. So to highlight that, I have 3 case studies here that I'll walk you through that are on our site and that are open for debate. The first is that of Naguib Sawiris. Sawiris is an Egyptian politician and also a businessman, and he's a Coptic Christian. Last year, he tweeted a picture of Mickey Mouse with a bushy beard and his girlfriend Minnie sporting a veil. And this led to much outcry. He apologized for the tweet, but he was still arrested for blasphemy under the Egyptian Penal Code. Our 7th principle, remember we have 10, says we respect the believer, but not necessarily the content of the belief. We believe at freespeechdebate.com that people should be able to voice their opinions even at times of communal tensions, even at the risk of causing offense. The second case is in Israel, and it's that of Israeli journalist Anat Kam. Also last year, she released and leaked 2,000 classified documents from her time with the IDF, the Israeli Defense Forces. These documents contained national secrets, but many in the media thought that they were vital to the public interest, that they concerned the people and that the people should know. What actually happened is that the government decided otherwise, and she was placed under secret house arrest for espionage, and there was a super injunction imposed, so the media couldn't even report on the case. This is a very sensitive issue. All the issues at freespeechdebate.com are sensitive. Our 10th principle says we must be free to challenge all limits to free expression, justified on such grounds as national security, public order, and morality. The person on our team who wrote this case thought that because the information was in the vital interest of the public, the media should have been able to report on it, and there shouldn't have been that super injunction. The last case I'll mention, actually I wrote after I met Khalid. Khalid is a young gay Emirati, and just so you know, I changed his name for this presentation to protect his anonymity. So what does it mean to grow up gay in a country where homosexuality is still legally punishable by death? Basically, in the media, reports frame it as a very negative thing, if they even cover issues of homosexuality at all. Most gay-related websites are blocked, and many authors they self-censor. They feel afraid to even write on some of the issues or write on homosexual themes. Khalid grew up thinking that he was sick most of his life because there was no debate around what he was feeling or around some of these issues. Our 4th principle says we speak openly and with civility about all kinds of human difference. And that's something we believe at freespeechdebate.com is vital for people to be able to express themselves, to be able to understand themselves, and in this case, for Khalid to understand himself. So today, if you live in a big city, you're surrounded by people from different countries, different cultures, different religions, different languages. This is a map of social networks, and it's important in this case because 2 billion people are connected by the internet, and another 2 billion by mobile devices. Essentially, we're all neighbors now, and with this interconnectedness becomes great opportunities for free speech, but also great challenges. And we highlight some of these challenges on the website. An interesting issue that we talk about, and that's important to note, is that countries no longer control free speech. We've got to look at some of the big private powers like Google, like Twitter, like Facebook, that shape our daily interactions more than the countries actually do. And what used to be something that could be limited by a set of laws, the flow of information within a country, no longer applies when we live in this global age of mass media and mass interconnectedness. So you can come onto our site, you can read some blog posts, you can comment on the 10 principles, and you can hear from experts on what they think are some of the most critical issues to free speech today. One interview that we have, I'm just highlighting issues around the Middle East here. We have issues from all over the world. We have Iranian cleric Mohsen Kadivar speaking on hate speech and free speech. We have the former head of Al Jazeera, Wada Kanfar, speaking on how the Arab Spring transformed journalism. And we also have Irshad Manji. Irshad Manji is a feminist and a Muslim based in the US who came to Oxford, like many of these men and women have done, to speak about free speech in their context. Manji actually received death threats for her views on Islam, and some of these were posted on YouTube. She actually said that the company should have kept them up, should have kept these death threats against her on the website, and here she is describing why she thought that.
By deleting the roughest edges of this debate, we become, in many ways, willfully blind to all that is involved in fighting for individual liberty and freedom of expression and universal human rights and pluralism of peaceful ideas.
So we're not just discussing religion, as I've said. We're also talking about issues of national security, privacy, media diversity, among a host of other hotly contested issues. But to have a debate, we need people. We need you to come onto the site and tell us what you think. And you're able to do that in 13 different languages. Our motto is 13 languages, 10 principles, 1 discussion. We have those 30 graduate students that are running the site. They're native in 13 different languages, and they've actually translated all of the principles, all the descriptions, and some of the case studies into these 13 languages so that you can have your say in your own language and follow what other people think in your native tongue. We've also teamed up with Google Translate so that any comment you put on will be automatically translated. And even if you don't want to comment, you can still come to the site and learn how to speak 12 new languages. So come onto the site. We've got many case studies, not just from the Middle East, but some that do highlight issues in Asia and the Middle East, etc. We've got Salman Rushdie, who was banned from the Jaipur International Literary Festival. He actually decided not to go because of death threats against him. We have one on Turkish journalists in Turkey and their arrests, and also one on the Stop Online Privacy Act, which we've all heard about this year, and similar acts taking place around the world. So you can follow these debates. You can listen to the podcast, which I host with one of my friends, or follow our line of free speech-related news on our Twitter feed here. We also have a Facebook page. It's facebook.com/freespeechdebate. So we'd love for you to come onto this site, and we'd love for you to comment. I actually received some great news this morning. I found out that my sister had her first baby today, and I'm now an uncle. And my dream for Stella K, that's her name, my dream for Stella is that she'll grow up in a world where people have the freedom to express themselves no matter where they're born. That's my dream for Stella and my dream for people that were born today around the world. And I think that we can do that with free speech debate. I'm going to say thank you, but I'll let our multilingual team of translators say goodbye.